ladies and gentlemen. So I have a secret. I have a superpower. This is not the kind of superpower that enables me to flip cars or fly, but it does make me quite accomplished at fleeing from social engagements. My superpower is social anxiety. Let me explain. So social anxiety is something that I've suffered with for the majority of my life, says the guy on stage at a comedy show. And it has this uncanny ability to make seemingly very simple things quite challenging. When I first finished university, I started work at this office with about 15 or so people and a lunchroom so small that it was impossible to avoid those awkward, uncomfortable conversations with every single one of your colleagues. So to avoid this, I did what any rational person would do, and I started smoking. And what this did is, rather than my colleagues then thinking, "Ben's a bit weird, why doesn't he hang out with us in the lunchroom?" They just think I was antisocial. So I've got to grips with my social anxiety for the most part now, but back then the thing that I really struggled with, the real challenge for me, was questions. And questions sound like a very simple concept, and these days it seems reasonable to respond to a question with "I don't know." But back then it seemed far more reasonable to assess the answer to every question ever, attempt to pick the very best one for this particular scenario, and then proceed to give an answer that is completely irrelevant to the question they've asked.
Politician.
Maybe I've got a feature there. And if you can imagine those little spaghetti alphabet in tomato sauce that you used to get as a kid, a bowl of those with just letters everywhere, that was it. It's a pretty good representation of my head in the throes of anxiety. And as I started therapy and meditation and mindfulness and all the things that we know we should do and probably don't most of the time, the letters started to rearrange in the bowl until about a year or so into this role in the office with the tiny kitchen, it formed a question. What the fuck is going on? And that might sound unhelpful, but actually asking that question was the first step to really understanding anxiety a little bit more deeply. So I work as a sustainability engineer, and that means that it is my job to point out all of the things that we know don't work, but that we insist on doing anyway. And in Australia, we've got a fairly well publicised housing crisis at the moment. And a lot of impressively shit homes. Impressively shit. When I first got here, I was quite blown away at the lengths that people seemingly went to make things as uninhabitable as possible. And I started off in Perth here, which gets much colder than you're told about in travel agents in the UK now. And I had right next to my head as I slept, I had this window. And naturally, midwinter, you close the window as you go to bed. But this particular window, like many in Australia, was so leaky that it didn't really matter if it was open or closed. The fucking wind was getting in one way or another. And so our kind of industry and cultural response to this housing crisis, for the most part, has been, fuck, we've got a real lack of houses, better build more and quickly. But the problem is, what that does is put more strain on the electricity grid, as we need to condition these buildings more, which increases the cost of electricity to the consumer. And I don't know about you, but it seems a bit perverse that those living in the shittest buildings, who are already pretty skint, have to then pay a tax on their electricity as a result of the fact that their buildings are shit. And this is why, really, social anxiety is a superpower for me, because I can't just look at a leaky window and see a leaky window. I have to ask the sort of deep philosophical questions behind it. Is this leaky window really the problem? And what are the systemic causes that led to this leaky window being a leaky window? And what the fuck is going on? Thank you, good night.